good to be king, if just for a while, to be there in velvet, yeah, to give them a smile. It's good to get high and never come down. It's good to be king of your own little town.
Welcome to Book Time with Ryan. I am Ryan, and I'm going to give you today my London vlog. I've been out of London for about 48 hours, and let me just say, I love London. London has become one of my favorite cities. Thank you to all the Brits and everyone else that I ran into there that made it great, with the people I worked with while I was there, with the people I interacted with and asked questions to. I loved it. I loved it, and hopefully you'll see that in this vlog, because it was great. It was really, really great. I did a lot. I had about a week. Some of that was personal time, some of that was work time, but I feel like I got a lot out of it, including you'll see something about this hat later. A lot of video in this is going to speak for itself. Some of it I'm going to probably do some voiceover just to describe what's coming, but this is not all going to be about books, but there is a nice chunk that's about books and then about other stuff. So it was just amazing. Thank you again, Brits, for just being such good allies and being such good people, especially to confused Americans who step out into the street and look the wrong way sometimes. All right. That's it. I hope you enjoy. My week started on a Saturday evening when I jumped on a plane on United Airlines from Washington Dulles Airport, flew about 7 or 7.5 hours to Heathrow in London. On that flight, I watched 3 movies, which helped it pass the time, and then we landed. I took the tube everywhere. My stop was at Waterloo Station, and I really enjoyed that. It works well. But it didn't feel like I was in London until I saw Big Ben, which is actually the bell inside the tower. I learned that from Peppa Pig. Thanks, Peppa Pig. My friend Kyle told me just stay up the first day, don't go to sleep. So the first thing I did was walk to the Eye of London. And to get there, I walked through this tunnel that had all this awesome graffiti. It was started by Banksy, and now people just add their art to it. The whole way down smells a lot like spray paint, but really good art, really interesting stuff. Then I got to the Eye of London, which is just huge. You really can't appreciate how big it is. And this is a time-lapse video of the Eye of London from one of the little pods that people can ride in of downtown London. I realized I wasn't going to get a good view of everything, so I turned it here just so you could see kind of Parliament, Big Ben, some other buildings there. To the right is, I think, the Foreign Office and the Treasury building, and then a number of other things. But I love the view, and it was pretty fun. On my way to Hyde Park, I stopped at the Natural History Museum and saw some whales, including these whales. This whale, blue whale, was mentioned by Philip Hoare in a review I did. I was sad for the dead, extinct dodo birds. Poor birds. I also saw this temporary exhibit, the Titanosaur. And then I headed to Hyde Park, where I saw this duck and duckling swimming. And I was looking for a William H. Hudson Memorial, which was actually hard to find, but very peaceful. I loved it. William H. Hudson wrote The Purple Land that England Lost, which I've done not a review, but a video on. The woman in this memorial is Rima from another book he wrote called Green Mansions. Just a really peaceful area. And then I walked past St. James Cathedral. The bells were going. And then it was on to the London Mithraeum, a 3rd century Roman cult god temple that was found under the Bloomberg building, before it was the Bloomberg building, after World War II bombings. That was my first day. The next day, I started off by jumping on the train and heading to Portsmouth. I was heading to see the Victory, the HMS Victory, which is huge. 104 guns. Look at those guns. Oh my gosh. It was being refurbished over the next 10 or 15 years because the wood was rotting from water damage. So they let you get on board and go through the different levels, which is amazing. Just an amazing ship. And it is also the ship where Horatio Nelson died on 21st October 1805. Here's some of the original keel. You get to go under the ship because it's out of the water. And then I headed back to London and went to the Old Vic for a show, Groundhog Day. That rounded out my second day. Today is my book day, and I am where horses march. I wasn't sure if this was a public space, but it is. And no one's run me over yet. That's cool. But today I'm going to see some author. I'm going to see an author. And then I'm going to see a first edition of something very valuable. To see the mystery author, I went down a long road with lots of British flags. And then I went by Buckingham Palace. Very cool. And today I am here with Nick Harkaway. Oh, there we go. Newest book is Titanium Noir. This is the U.S. copy. We just had coffee and hot chocolate.
Yes.
And
Croissant.
Pastries. And I wanted to let you know that Nick is cool in person. And go out and buy his book.
Yes.
For a limited time. And I don't think Nick's going to confirm this.
No.
When you get a copy, you may or may not find... Can you hold this?
I can hold that. Here we go.
You may or may not find... Oh no, where did I put it? Oh, I never put it in. You may or may not... I can just edit that out. You may or may not find...
There it is.
Shit. 20... Oh, there's a receipt. 20 pounds. Nope, that's 10. 10 pounds or $10. So buy one now. I think probably in the UK you'll get the 10 pounds. In the US probably the $10. But I'm told, this has not been confirmed by Nick, that there's 10 pounds or $10 in every copy that somebody buys. So check it out. Nick, thanks for hanging out today. See ya. I shit you not. Having coffee with Nick for 2 hours was really one of the highlights of my time in London. And thanks so much to Nick for inviting me to have coffee and being so cool about it. Just a lot of fun. Check out the playlist of Nick's books on my channel. I love all of them. They're all 5 stars. Hey, it's Ryan here, and I am at Peter Harrington's on Dover Street in London. I almost say London, Connecticut. I went to school in New London, Connecticut. This is London, United Kingdom, with the coolest 3 books, which is actually 1 book that I've ever seen. And I'm going to touch them, and it's going to be the most expensive thing I've held in my hands, outside of maybe the deed for my house, but I don't know if that really counts. So this is The Whale. And that is the first name for Moby Dick from 1851. It was published in the UK before it was published in the United States, and that was because of a copyright issue at the time, where if things were printed in the UK that were already copyrighted somewhere else, something happened. I don't know what was happening, but eventually it got corrected. So a lot of things around that time that were printed in both countries had to be copyrighted in the UK first. So The Whale was the first, and then it came out as Moby Dick or The Whale in the United States a month later in 1851. This was based off of the original work that Melville did, although he did change some things. There were some back and forth that he had later that may have changed some of the wording, but and I found that out through the Northwestern kind of authoritative kind of background on Moby Dick. But The whale was changed a lot to meet English sensibilities. Is that English sensibilities, which means saying bad words or saying things that aren't very nice about religion or the crown. And a lot of things change in this book. So they also, there's no way that a reader would know that Ishmael lived in the end because they removed that final chapter, and there were also a lot of other changes that were pretty important to the book. So I think for this kind of book, it's really sought after for a collector. If you're a reader, you're probably looking for Moby Dick because that has the full story to it, where this will give you a partial idea of what happens in the book. Fortunately or unfortunately, you're probably not going to have access to this book unless you want to come to the UK or anywhere else, I guess, in the world and spend £175,000, which is $216,000. And this is Rebound, a modern rebinding, probably from in the last 20 years. If you had this, if you had this copy that wasn't Rebound, obviously it's in 3 volumes. This is one book in 3 volumes. If you had it and it wasn't Rebound, we're talking high six figures salary. That would be nice. High six figures to purchase it. So start saving now, and I'm very happy. I think they're going to give me these for free for coming in today because I traveled thousands of miles to see. I'm wearing my Moby Dick shirt. But thanks to Peter Harrington for letting me come in and see this beautiful book in 3 volumes and letting me touch it and trusting me to be here with it. Thanks. Thanks so much to Peter Harrington's. What I didn't say in the video was they actually had those books out. They were having a box made for it, and they brought the books back so I could see it, even though they knew I wasn't going to buy them. What a cool, classy move. And they left me in that room with these priceless books. It was just amazing to be there and to see that. And they didn't have to do any of that, but Peter Harrington's, just great job, great organization. About 5 years ago, I almost bought a book from them, but I waited one day too long, and they sold it after a day or two of it being up for a nice chunk of change. But it was a book called Confessions of a Former Customer's Man, and it had a dust jacket, and I just acted too slowly. But they're just a great organization, so check them out. I'll have a link to their page and their accounts. I'm at 25 Craven Street, where Herman Melville stayed when he was in London. There's a little blue tag. How cool. 25 Craven Street. So I've been walking for about 10 hours. Much further than a mile and a half on my phone looks. And I'm hoping to eat at where Herman Melville ate in 1849, Ye Olde Mitre. Probably wasn't the right location, but I did have a pork pie there, and it was a pretty cool spot. Tucked away and kind of hard to find. And inside of it is a tree that apparently the First Elizabeth danced around. I was looking for something I found in Herman Melville's journal when he went to London in 1849, and it was Mitre Tavern on Mitre Court and Fleet Street. I found Mitre Court on Fleet Street. I think Mitre Court is luxury apartments now. I didn't find any bust, but it was interesting. And then with time running out, I went up the Thames on an Uber boat. There's the Tower Bridge, and there's the Tower of London. And I headed towards Greenwich to the Royal Observatory. And wow, what a view. Just what a beautiful view of London. It's just amazing there. But I got there too late. Everything was closed. I got to see the Royal Observatory Greenwich clock, and I also got to see the Prime Meridian, which is very cool. I'm in the Western Hemisphere. I'm in the Eastern Hemisphere. Now I'm both. Do not tip the flies in Greenwich. And the next day, I headed to the British Museum, which was very cool. Here is the actual Rosetta Stone. They had a bunch of statues, like here's Ramsey of something. But they were all in an area you could just touch. They were right there, and they're real. But they had these little signs saying, don't touch. I don't know how they trust the people. I can conclusively say that the British Museum is overwhelming and awesome, but overwhelming. I think the British Museum is designed to have a million choke points where kids congregate and don't move when you walk near them. I was in dress shoes and my feet started to really hurt, so it was time to take a cab, and boy do I love the cabs.
It's not terrible. I mean, we get our rain, but it's always...
Now to check out the British Library. Looks like somebody's bending over there. Are they? Yeah. They are. I didn't have a lot of time, but I did see 2 versions of the Magna Carta, which was pretty neat. I didn't even know there were 2 versions of it. Later in the day, after some work stuff, I realized I was right next to West Ham United Stadium, and I heard a lot of people chanting and wearing the jerseys, and I had to check it out. So I'm pretty much a West Ham United fan now. Of course, I bought a jersey, and while I wore it, people would yell things at me. I ran into a woman on the train that was also wearing a West Ham United jersey. I asked her what they were yelling, and apparently they were yelling either irons or hammers, the nicknames for the team, but all I could hear was, oh, yeah, hey, oh. Hey, who's that? Oh, yeah. It's Abraham Lincoln. You know that's right. In London. The obligatory number 10 Downing Street picture. Throwing up a 10. Doing crossed arms for the Irons of West Ham United. I also went to number 11 Downing Street. And there's another picture of me with it. And then checked out where they filmed one of the Bond films inside His Majesty's Treasury building. And then I went to a sport I've never seen before. Cricket. I went to Lord's Cricket Grounds and saw Middlesex play Sussex. I was cheering for Middlesex, and I learned a lot. But I got there pretty late, and there were only 15 to 20 minutes left. So I had to learn a lot in a very little time, but I had to see it, and I had to get a hat. I needed to see the sport. So the people behind me were really nice and told me some of the rules, and it was just a lot of fun to be there in the birthplace of cricket and to see a sport I had never seen before. Unfortunately, Middlesex lost. There's that Middlesex cricket hat. And then, on my last full day, I went to the Bank of England and checked out some gold in the Bank of England Museum. Ooh, gold. And next to the Bank of England is the old Royal Exchange, and at the top of it, for some reason, is a grasshopper. And that was it. Then I flew back home and took a 5-hour drive after a 8-hour flight. But I had such a blast in London. I mean, I cannot thank the people in London enough. They were very hospitable. They were just patient with me and so kind. Nick, for giving us time to spend some time with me, and really made my week. For Peter Harrington's for giving me a chance to see a book I'll probably never see anywhere else, and then actually having to move it from another location so I can actually see it. Just the people I interacted with, staff, just amazing. I mean, I knew a little bit about London, but now that I've been, I have to say it's one of my favorite places, and I want to go again so bad. I've told my wife I'd love to take her and my kid and just see London. and show them the city that I really enjoyed and really loved while I was there. So if you're English, if you're from the UK, if you live in London, you guys are doing it right. Great job. Great time. And I can't wait to visit again. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, I'll be king when dogs get wings. Can I help it if